discussion for today is titled based on the book She Storms the Norms, and already sounds so powerful and inspiring. And for those of you who are in the morning, you've already listened to Anisha, so you know what's in store. The conversation features Anisha, celebrated author of She Storms the Norm, in conversation with two extraordinary women leaders featured in her book. This session will delve into the journeys of these trailblazers who've broken barriers, shattered glass ceilings in their respective diverse industries. Without further ado, I will take this opportunity to invite our panelists on stage. Meena Ganesh, co-founder and chairperson at Portia Medical, India's leading home healthcare company. Can we have a round of applause for her, please? Next up, Suparna Mitra. Suparna is the CEO of the Watches and Wearables division of Titan Company Limited and an alumni of IIM Calcutta. Welcome. And of course, moderating this panel, we have Anisha Motwani, who requires no introduction to this crowd, a multifaceted business strategist, managing director of SCN Ventures. Over to you, Anisha.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can some of the people sitting in the back just shift up a little? If you can shift up a little. Psychologically, it feels better to see a hall full. See, we are all human beings, yeah. Okay, great, great. How many of you were there in my morning session? Okay. Okay, some of them are new. Okay, so we did a session in the morning, and that session was inspired by this book that we launched in March. And this is the book called She Storms the Norm. It's about 17 very inspiring women who are featured in this book, and two of them have actually, from their busy schedules, managed to find time to come here and talk about it. Yeah. So this session is going to be about my conversation with both Meena and Suparna. You must read the full story in the book, so I'm not going to give you, let the story out, because as authors, we want our books to sell. Okay, so they will just give you a flavor of it. And the conversation is not necessarily about their stories, but also about their experiences, because they are leaders and big leaders in their own capacity, and something that can be inspiring for many of us to learn from. Yeah. So with that, I'll go straight to you, Meena, first. Okay, and I just, read the story again to refresh my memory about Meena, and I realize that I think she is one person who seems to have figured it all out. She is a successful serial entrepreneur. Of course, as she was the CEO of Portia and the managing director, and she's the owner-founder. So for me, I just thought that, she's more about Portia than anything else. She just tells me, of course, in the book we've touched upon she's a serial entrepreneur, but not some of the other businesses she's into. Have you heard of Home Lane, Bluestone, Big Basket? And there are a dozen of these kind of companies that she is co-founded. Okay? And that's not enough. Her passions are music, dance, bridge, swimming, travel. Okay? She has an NGO, and she started her spiritual journey. Are you a superhero in disguise?
Of course. I'm not in disguise. Can't you see my cape? What do you mean? Yeah, but jokes apart, I think there's one small intellectual flaw in this. It's not that all of these are happening simultaneously. I mean, I've had a 40-year career in which various stages I've gone through different things, but the common theme for me has always been how do I learn and how do I grow? When the children were small, I have two of them, all grown-ups now, And I also have a granddaughter, so you can see, you can age
my
me
God.
accordingly. She doesn't live here, otherwise that would be another exciting thing to look forward to. But so jokes apart, when early days of the career, it was about how to learn to subsist with two children, to doing a startup side by side. How do you prioritize very, very seriously? How do you just ask for help so that you can remain sane? From there, as the children grew up, then I had the opportunity to then go back to my hobbies and interests. And there's a book that was very timely that sort of pushed me along in the journey, which was the book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, where she talks about the growth mindset. And for me, the big takeaway from there was that you don't have to set a benchmark that you have to live up to. You don't have to compare yourself. You just have to get better day on day. And using that mindset, I have gone to learn number of new skills, and the latest one being that I went and got myself certified for open water scuba diving.
Oh my God.
Anything, okay? So long as I can do it safely, I will do it. I want to try anything and everything. So that suddenly my brain has opened up, and what it has done is to make my experiences richer, make me a better person, make me more effective in the professional work that I do as well. I sit on multiple boards, and having the growth mindset in that is also very useful, because especially when I join boards, I don't know much about the companies. I sit on a bank board, I don't know anything about banking, so I have to spend a lot of time learning. Now, the day I stepped into the bank board was actually very scary, because everybody is talking such large banking terms. I don't know anything about banking. How do I still maintain and be centered in that is the first thing. And I remember I joined the board in COVID, so it was very convenient. On one side, I used to have Google open, so I'll Google every word that people say, okay, well, what does it mean actually? I don't know anything. So starting from there, now it's 4 years plus, and I'm a very, very active role I play in that, and that's because of that mindset of it's okay, just you don't know anything, don't worry. You will learn day on day on day, and how do you do that? Speaking of the spiritual journey, and then I'll give it back to you. It was really in my late 30s that as I'm sure many of you young women will notice, that it's a very difficult time when you have growing children. Maybe they're in their teenage, they are troubling you, you have elder parents to look after, your career is also taking off, or in my case, I had many startups, and they go through their ups and downs. That's when I started to do this little bit of internal journey, and over the last nearly 15 years or so, I've been continuously going down that path, learning more, reading more, listening more, practicing more, and that has helped me go through a number of challenges that I'm sure all of us go through in life, whether it's my health or my parents or my children and their mental health, my company's tanking, becoming good, all of those things. You go through ups and downs. Having the little muscle of spiritual understanding and your self-understanding, I think is very, very valuable as an ally in your journey.
Okay. I'm not going to process each answer, because there's so much, that one person has managed to accomplish in a lifetime, and we just heard about scuba. I think she's just defeated this whole, she's just stormed this norm about jacks of all and masters of none. She's a live example of that. That's another norm she stormed. Moving to you, Suparna, even now, I still, to be honest, haven't figured out whether I've got, what do I really want to do in life? I'm constantly questioning. Once I left the corporate world, I said I want to be on my own. Now 10 years I've been on my own. I've done multiple things, but I still am not clear about, is that the end? What more can I do, kind of? But you, at an age of 11, okay, as a young kid in a small town in Durgapur, you had this thing that, you had a very successful father, from what I read, and your mother is like one really warm homemaker, which is like my parents as well. And you said that I want to live, these are two lives, and I want to live the life of a successful homemaker, a very warm homemaker, and a successful professional in one lifetime alone. At 11, I'm still not able to figure out at my age. So what was the trigger?
I think it was a lot of I don't know, open space and boredom. When I was 11 and I spent, it was in a small town called Durgapur. Used to go to school, come back. There was no internet. There was no television actually at that time. I used to read a lot, and I used to observe everything. I used to daydream a lot, hours. And in my daydreams, I have been everything. When Beyond Walk was a sensation, I wanted to be a tennis player. Then I met the local district magistrate and I wanted to be the IAS officer. Then I wanted to be a lawyer. So there was nothing that I didn't want to be. But I did realize that in all those daydreams, the one thing that kind of used to flash before me was the fact that my father, who was, very successful, he was the managing director of the steel plant, and in small towns like that, everybody is like treating you as a big deal. But when he would come home and my mother would just serve him food, he was just like enveloped in that, the love and the harmony of the family. And we are 3 sisters, so my 2 elder sisters and I, and it struck me that this is it. If you can get this in a life where you're really in a position to use your mind and speak your voice and do all these things in the outside world, and yet you come back, so it's the home and the world. I'm a Bengali, so Tagore wrote that story, Ghore Baire, which is inside the house and outside. And I think the integrity of that you're not 2 different people, you're actually the same person. And I do see it now when I reflect back. The type of mom I am is not very different from the type of boss I am. Because you can't be 2 different things. It has to be synthesized and integrated.
Very nice. The kind of mom I am is the kind of boss I am. Very interesting. Really food for thought there. Meena, coming to you, one of the norms is you should keep your personal and professional life apart. Okay? You and Ganesh started Portia together. Okay? And is there any instance where you carried from work which literally made you feel like storming out of your bedroom at night?
So let me first clarify the magnitude of the problem. From the year 2000, all the startups that we have done, including Customer Asset, Tutor Vista, Portia Medical, Home Lane, Health, every home, all the Bluestone, all of them we are co-founders. Okay, not in one, but 22 years, 24 years we've been co-founders in a whole bunch of companies. And couple of things helped. One is that we have very complementary skills. I mean, we bring very different things to the table, so that helps to carve out very different identities in the workplace. So first, let me talk about the workplace. You don't want to be seen as a couple, you want to be seen as 2 good professionals who are leading their parts of the business. So that was very important. I think just the fact that we had complementary skills and we made it a point not to sort of intervene into each other's areas helped us establish that difference. Now comes what happens at home. There is no doubt that you will carry work home. There is no other choice. I mean, we are one human, and wherever you are, the work and home flows. In my head, anyway, it does. Not because of a startup. But especially when things go bad in the workplace, which in a startup it does. It's a complete roller coaster ride. There are days when you feel absolutely top of the world, and the other day you feel like a little worm. So when that's going on, it's not impossible to bring all of that into the house and then really struggle. Then both of you are really, tight and wound up and feeling unhappy, and that comes in, and then you have 2 children. So you got to learn how to deal with that. Of course we've had, but for the most part, I think coming in home used to change the whole mahol, because when the children are there and you're interacting with them, and I have a huge age gap between my kids. So one is 9 years older than the other. Then there's always a little fellow at home. So that changes everything. So while all the initial startups are going on, my son was very small. Started my first startup, he was 8 months old. So from there, so you don't have a choice. I mean, you just get diverted. So
you
that
get
helps
diverted to
greatly.
nappy changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct. So, Parna, you actually got your engineering degree way back then, Again, another norm. These engineering kind of jobs are not meant for women. And I remember you mentioned in your story somewhere that there were enough critics who felt that you actually had taken a seat away from a deserving guy because you are never going to persevere in engineering. Okay? So how did you manage that? There's a lot of criticism I think you must have, gone through.
Yeah, it was so bad. I don't even know what these people got out of squashing the dreams of a young girl. I don't even think they were trying to be mean. They actually seriously believed, so this was actually an uncle, cousin or whatever, somebody. And I felt very crushed. But that's the thing, right? There will be, in my entire, not just that time, but through my professional life, I'm a few years younger than Meena, so 30 plus years. I would say maybe 50% of people have been neutral, 30% have been very encouraging, and 20% have been very demotivating. And I'm very Teflon about the people who are demotivating. Because you can't change them. There was a time when I used to think that if I work on them, I argue with them, or I try, and then I realized a complete waste of time. So I concentrate on the 30% who are very encouraging, and even if somebody is giving you quote unquote negative feedback, I think as human beings we sense whether they are well-wishers or not. And it's very important to have that circle of well-wishers who know you enough, who love you enough to give you the right feedback at the right time, and who also lift you up when you're down. And frankly, you cannot do anything, so you have to just ignore. Sometimes now I do think about some of those, and I'm like, see, it did, you have to do your work, and it is actually very karmic. Whoever is putting in the work will get. The rest who are talking, if they're also doing the work, it's okay, but if they're just talking,
Correct.
life will give you what you deserve in that sense.
Correct. So, both of you, I think, before I even move to the next question, just one challenge or one such, real bad experience or a bad egg in the basket, and any experience that you want to talk about, and how did you circumvent that? One is just to be deaf, like you said. But, most times, as a boss, you've scaled a career from a trainee to a CEO of such a large company. You manage a mixed gender crowd, whatever. How do you manage some of these challenges? I'm sure there are women who walk up to you and who share their experiences, or men who walk up to you. Anything for this young crowd here,
So I think in our generation, and there was a lot of, overt bias. There was also a lot of overt sexual harassment in the guise of jokes and all of that. There was just no concept of any kind of political correctness about it. It was only about 15 years back that, prevention of sexual harassment, POSH, when committees came in. Before that, there would be like a secret code in all the women that, such so-and-so person is a complete lech. You know what I'm saying? And you see them coming and you run the other way. But if they are your boss or something like that, it would be hard. I know people used to just quit, women used to just quit jobs. Because there was no redressal system. There was the chances that you will be given a fair hearing itself is so low. And also, both conscious and unconscious bias about your capability at work was quite visible. Now, I think in the last, I would say 10 years, all these things have become better, 100%. And even things like policies, like I had 2 children, I had 3 months maternity leave. And I scraped together and put a 4th month. Now it is, 6 months, and most, good companies do give more, or they adjust the leave, etc. It was just, and I really believe in this. And also when, these negative biases would come in, our generation, we would just put our head down and work and hope to God that somebody will notice and eventually good things will happen. But that's not the way this should happen. And I'm very glad that today's generation, first off, the policies have changed, become better. The culture overall has changed for the better. It still has a long way to go, but it has become better. And I think most importantly, young women are actually standing up and saying, why should I do this way? The world has to change. What I worry about a lot though is about the men. Because, and even in our internal DEI program in Titan, we were talking about it. We've taken 2 steps forward. Now we're taking a step sideways so that the rest of the organization catches up. Because we have to be, it is not serving an overall societal purpose that there are, 160 women and 1 man in this room. The people who really need to get this are the men.
Correct.
I'm going to narrate a quick story because you like stories, right? Yes. So let me tell you one of my early days stories of sexism, chauvinism, whatever you want to call it. I used to work for a company called NIIT, and I used to do corporate training, which meant going into their clients' sites and deliver training on computer skills, what have you. So before the training, I went to what was used to be called the EDP manager those days of a public sector company, what is now called the IT head or whatever. So I go to that gentleman, and this was, I used to live in Delhi then, and said that I'm going to be your lead trainer. I'm going to go to your site and I'm going to train. First he looks me up and down. I was all of 23, 24. He looks me up and down. Aap jayengi? I hope all of you understand enough Hindi to get it because it's fun only in Hindi. Aap jayengi? I said, yeah, I'll go. What's the problem? I know my stuff. I'll do it. ये सब men हैं वहाँ पे. I said, yeah, okay, I can deal with men. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to teach. What am I going to do? Not do a dance performance, right? I'm going to teach. What's the problem? They are men. Okay, fine. After a lot of hemming and hawing, he said, okay, that's what your company thinks. Go, fine. I finished the training. In those days we had physical feedback forms. So I got the forms filled and I come back and share the feedback with him. The feedback is great. So what does he turn around and say? Madam, वो क्या बोलेंगे? आप तो औरत ही है ना. Oh, you can never win, good or bad. अच्छा ही बोलेंगे. आप तो औरत हैं. So that anyway, that's just a irritating side note. But over the years, just coming back to the men not getting it, okay? I must tell you about my experience as a leader. I was the leader of this organization. So I was the CEO, and my one downs would argue with me as to why they should not hire women. And I'm sitting there, okay? I mean, you can see now, I'm like a woman, right? Can't you make out? I'm a woman. I'm doing stuff, okay? I can manage this whole company. Why can't you hire a woman in that role? No, this, no, this. They'll take leave. They have to attend to their families. They have to do this, that. I used to get really annoyed, but it took a while. And there were few. Some were okay, but some really need to be hit on the head to understand that times have moved on. You can't be in this, in the caveman stage and say that women can't do this, they are not good enough. So yeah, to Suparna's point, men still need to learn. They have to come a long way. Still there?
Yeah, this hall should have been 50% men.
50% men, correct. So okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into a rapid fire round because the time is limited, and that will just ensure that we get some really...
And rapid fires are fun.
Yeah, and if anybody has a response that's equally good or better, okay, don't give a response that's one level below what Meena, and so you have a high benchmark, high bar. Okay, please raise your hand and you can also answer. Yeah, game? Yeah, okay. Here's the first question. What's the most ridiculous stereotype about women you've heard, and did you feel the urge to prove them wrong?
Well, the assumption that we are the organizers and we are the team makers and we should be the people who sort of support everybody used to really put me off, and I would look away. Somebody says, "हाँ, थोड़ा बोल दो ना जो चाय ले आएगा." I would just look the other way, you know. So I haven't heard it, you know. You figure I find someone else. I'm not doing it.
Okay, I'll come to you before Suparna. Suparna, come.
I think the stereotype is that women are like Maya and Mamta, and they are they will be the good mommies, and they will take everything. They will never pull up anybody for not doing their work. They look at us and they're like, "What? No, I'm here to do my work, and you're here to do your work."
Okay, go ahead. Oh, be loud, be loud.
Shout it out.
Shout it out.
Shout it out.
I am Sailu from Capgemini. 20 years ago, when I started my career, and
Keep it rapid fire, this rapid answer. Huh?
yes, there were these 8 men and a woman in the room, and my boss, who was a man, told me that the woman in the room will take notes.
Oh my God.
I mean, what are all the other 7 men doing? And why do you look at the woman taking the notes? And I didn't take. I denied to stay in the room unless I'm going to listen, and I'm not going to give you minutes of meeting.
I'll add mine. I was always asked to cut the cake. If there's a team birthday, Anisha, why don't you cut the cake? Oh my God.
Why? The men can't even cut cake. They are so incompetent. Oh my God.
Hi, this is Momita from Microsoft. One question, please, to you all.
Okay, we'll come to the questions, please. Huh? Okay. Do you think there's a secret handbook for men on how to be manly, or is it just trial and error?
No, I think they're just fed so much by watching others and watching the media. Between the two of them, they have enough inputs.
They have enough food.
So I'll give a counter this thing. Women's dresses don't have pockets. And there was this meme I saw of a mom of a 4-month-old son. She didn't have pockets and he had pockets. And she was like, "What is he going to carry? The keys to the patriarchy?"
And that's why when they asked me, do you need a hand mic or do you want to mic up? And then I realized, I don't know, where will I mic up? Because those mics are still made for men and their pockets. Okay. So, if men are from Mars and women are from Venus, where do you think all the stereotypes come from?
Earth.
Same.
They come from the Earth. Okay, that was an obvious one. Okay. What's one gender stereotype that you think should come with a warning label?
Should?
Come with a warning label.
You want to go first?
Warning for whom? For the men.
Yeah, maybe, for the men. Let's have some fun.
This assumption that women can't drive. I don't know how many of you have faced that. Huh? Yeah. Oh, that accidents, more from women. Parking, very poor. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'll add, now I know which one it is, that women are bad at numbers. Women
Okay,
are
there's-
not good at math. They can't, what is this?
And technology and engineering jobs. Yeah, she wants to go. Okay, great.
बेटा पैदा हुआ है और बेटा ख्याल रखेगा, which is really a big warning. These days it's just the woman who's taking care of parents.
I have to add one as well. I'm just itching. Sada sohagan raho.
Yeah. Really? Die before your husband.
Yeah, seriously.
Literally. I mean, why?
Okay. Is there a stereotype about women that you secretly enjoy playing into just to mess with people?
Yes. So I can, all my life I've been a very soft and very
I know, you said
gentle.
that in your story.
And sort of, I can mingle very well. Nobody will notice me. But over the years, I learned some skills. So now I do that. I'll go into the boardroom. I'll be very sweet and gentle. Then I'll ask the most annoying and difficult question. I'll really mess with people. They don't expect it to come from me.
Brilliant.
You had one too. Your getting doors opened. There's this whole thing of women need,
Chivalry.
yeah, they just need to be treated with more care.
Yeah,
and
I
respect.
enjoy that. Somebody opening doors for me, somebody offering a seat to me, especially in a crowded metro. Okay. What's the most creative excuse you've heard for why men can't multitask?
I have many of them, but I'll narrate again a story. My son, who's now 25, 5 years back when he was still in college, I would call him to talk, and he would say, I can't talk to you. I'll say, why? I'm eating. I mean, like, you're eating. You can't say hello to your mom? What do you mean? I don't know. I cannot multitask. So that's one story for you. But there are many more, more meaning. Like this Wi-Fi of mine can only connect to one instrument. Those kind of, you can say anything.
No, I think it's the reverse stereotype. But women are so good at multitasking, no? So you do it. Or I'm not as good as you. Go ahead and do it. You do it.
Okay. Papa ka paisa gol gol, mummy ki roti gol gol. Okay. So there are many such stereotypes still prevalent in society. If someone narrates one of these in your child's presence, how do you respond?
My child will respond. She will shred them to pieces.
Sab mummy ka paisa gol gol is what you're making life comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Meena.
Nothing more to add.
She's made roti and paisa both gol gol. Okay. There's one more that I really want to do, okay? If you could create a new gender stereotype that was totally positive, what would it be?
That men are better at running the household. And I've seen some examples. My son-in-law, he's super. He takes care of everything, whether it's the kitchen or running the house. He's so good. And my daughter is better at managing the finances. So why not?
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
So I think the gender stereotype positively is that actually women should run the governments of all the countries. There will be no war. There will be all the budgets will not go into defense and all of that. It'll go into early education, primary health, and just, and we see that, right? We know that even in, where the microfinance happens, when women, really poor women, are given money in their hands, they use it for the betterment of society, and they always repay back. And they don't waste anything on alcohol.
Yeah, correct. Correct. Okay, what's the next
It's a
norm?
stereotype, right? But it is a good stereotype.
What's the next norm society is destined to shake up? And, what's the next norm society is destined to shake up? It's no option but to shake up.
Well, I feel that as the world and the world of technology, especially as it's changing, the kind of skills that you need to be successful is no longer the hardcore, nerdy, that's all. It's a combination of that and soft skills and psychology, design, and women are better at combining these two together rather than being unidimensional. So that I feel should change and should make women more central, core to businesses rather than something that is added on as an afterthought.
Yeah, correct.
I think if you look at the percentage of wealth in the world that is in the hands of women and property, and I think that more women should earn, and they should earn far more money. I really think that money is at the source of power.
Yeah.
There is no way anybody will give you a seat at the table unless you're making money. Yeah. And I think that norm that first get the money, get enough money, get more and more money, create wealth for yourself, for others, that's when people take you seriously. That's when the world will give you a seat. And that then leads to this earlier part which I said. And that can actually be used, all that money can be used for really good things.
Okay, I think we have just the last few minutes left, so I want to ask the questions, but just one more last one before that. What's one thing you'd like readers to remember long after they've finished the book which has your stories in it, And that book, is about women storming the norms.
I think the book is remarkable because every woman's story is different. I mean, there are women like Meena and me who've worked in, worked up either in the startup world or but there are women who were, stories who were born in wealthy families. And when you read the book, you realize everyone has faced so many challenges. It's not just that if somebody was born in a, in a wealthy business family, nothing came easy. Every last thing had to be fought for. And I'm saying fought for, not like fighting, but demanded and,
Earned yours.
earned, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, I mean, whether it is a film star like Nimrat Kaur, who's featured in the book, a non-Bollywood person, making a break in Bollywood. This one, Adhuna Akhtar, Farhan Akhtar's wife, older women, ex-wife, older women shouldn't be marrying younger guys. Or, somebody like Ritu Karadiyal, she's from here, this city, unfortunately she was not available today. The rocket women of India is the first ISRO scientist, Mangalyaan, and how from a small town in Lucknow. Each of these stories, and all of them have had to manage stereotypes. But the best thing that I, found as a common theme, Meena and Suparna in the book is that none of you all were activists. None of you all actually took this thing morcha and say, let me prove the world wrong and let this thing. I think you all navigated it within the ecosystem. You created your success by being in the system, not by, questioning the system or by being angry with the system. That is for me the beauty of some of these authentic stories. Yes.
Sure, no, said it very well. I think the important point is to slowly insinuate yourself into the lives of others, and even before they realize you've taken charge. That's the moral of my story, at least, which I would say people should consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Work so hard and so well that they cannot afford to ignore you.
Okay. Looks like one last question. One question? Okay, just one question. Anybody dying to ask a question? Meena and Suparna are here. Okay.
So, ma'am, throughout this conference, we've always heard this, that, work like what you ended with right now. You have to work hard, you have to prove yourself. But my question is sometimes, you're drained out of the energy to prove yourself all the time, right? And sometimes you just want to sit, whereas vis-a-vis when it comes to the men, they're taking their breaks, they're just taking that pause. But women have a higher price to pay for the pause they take. Have you faced anything like that, and what is your advice to women who are trying to navigate the same, path?
Okay, let me answer that. I did not take a break, but my daughter, she was a high-flying consultant with McKinsey. She just said that this is just not for me. She gave it up. 6 months she sat, she went for Vipassana, she got her head fixed, and then now she is really kicking ass in her new career, loving it. So it's not impossible. So don't put that burden on yourself that you have to stick with something that you don't like and you cannot take a break. Or if life feels too difficult at some point in time, take the break, but stay in touch with what's going on around you and see what is the way for you to come back. Build your networks, learn new skills so that you can indeed come back. It's not, and this is just one personal example, but I've seen a lot of women who are making the comeback later in their lives, in their 40s, 50s, maybe becoming an entrepreneur, going back into corporates. It is possible today because companies are a little more open for that.
So I took 2 breaks. I have 2 children.
I've taken 3 breaks. I always say to women, comma is okay, full stop is not.
That's a nice one.
Okay?
That's a very nice one. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have to close in the interest of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you so much.
We have goodies for all of you, would request you to please stay on stage and a group picture.
Tie us down, now we combat. New gen in your face, we about that. Me plus we see the future, gonna get that. Get that. 10 toes in, you feel that? Feel that? Feel that?
Lovely conversation. Quick picture.
Get that. We're about to break that chain of thought that forcing you can't